still kiss your fans?
The glory days, man.
Is this not weird? He's collecting these like Beanie Babies and Pokemon cards. You telling me after every show you're not throwing these out?
It felt like he was making fun of people that have trauma.
You represent an avatar of a freaky ass nigga.
DIY.
Drake, I'm gonna keep asking this question. What did you do? And why did you do it? How did you not see this coming? It's been really interesting as the usual suspects, the media outlets, dudes that are into battle rap are going back and forth, right? Folks are even attacking me on my viewpoints on this whole Kendrick versus Drake battle, whatever you want to call it. But the most interesting thing that I found is that most of the criticism that I have seen about the content that I do that doesn't paint Drake in the most positive light hasn't actually been from women. And for me, as a hip hop fan, I used to believe that women were the foundation. Like, that's who validated Drake, specifically black women. Validated Drake and made it to where if we say he cool, he gonna be all right. And sure enough, his career panned out very damn well. With that said, Drake, the human being, outside of the artist, and even to a certain degree in the music, starts to get examined. As a lot of these things get brought to the light, and even these diss songs from Kendrick, there are a lot of women that are stepping up now and using their platforms.
Freaky ass nigga, he's 69 God. Freaky ass nigga, he's...
Gotta stop that. I really thought it was already turned. Let me make sure this is turned off on all the other channels. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. This specific platform here by Sonya speaks to why she believes Drake, it's time to grow up. What do you mean? I'm gonna let her cook from here. Let's see what she says.
It's like, I don't know, man. These girls, they just want to like hang out and get high and stuff and talk about like IG drama. And there's like more to life than that, man. Wait, Drake, how old was this girl? Oh, dude, she was like 25 and you're 36 with a kid. That's true. You not think that like maybe some of these problems could be avoided by like, I don't know, like dating somebody your age? No.
Damn.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonya. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but one thing I've been saying to myself lately is life might be hard, but at least I'm not Drake right now because...
I thought about that the other day, Sonya. I was like, hey, today's another day to be grateful that Not Like Us wasn't directed toward you. It's another... Thank you, guy. Hey, I ain't did. There's a lot of things I did I ain't proud of, and I thank you that it wasn't somebody on the other end like with Kendrick Power that had a song dedicated to me that everybody is singing at the top of their lungs. Somewhere in the world, somebody is singing that song at the top of their lungs because it's their birthday or something. I don't know.
Like, Mr. Sir, how do you even get yourself into this predicament? This video is about how he got into this predicament. And the core of that is not changing, not evolving, and not growing as a human being. He came on the music scene around 2008 with his single Best I Ever Had. In that video, this man is literally the coach for a high school basketball team.
You's a freaky ass nigga!
A girls' high school basketball team. That aged like milk, my boy. When it comes to the drama surrounding Drake right now, between Drake and Kendrick, or Drake versus the entire hip-hop community, one of the biggest allegations is him being a PDF file.
You know what's insane about all of these things that have been created just from this one battle? PDF file, you will never send a document from Canva, from Photoshop, and never, if you are part of this coach, you will never look at the term PDF file ever again the same way. I was working on music the other day. They'll tell you every time I sat there and started going through the keys, and I said, what key is this in? And it said A minor. I said, that ain't funny, but it...
A deadbeat father, as well as just being like an all-around terrible human being with questionable business practices. Not Like Us dropped, 2 months ago? And it has consistently, week over week, been on the Billboard charts. Top 5. The video just dropped. It has over 30 million views. The success of that song really shows how fatigued the hip-hop community has been with Drake. The older guys were already telling us that Drake is corny. We didn't care. I'm Gen Z. We did not care. We were growing up with this man. Even as I got older, the girlies Me, I'm one of the girlies. The girlies knew that Drake was corny. The girlies knew, like, if you were to meet this man in public, you would not like him that much because he gives off that vibe.
I'm gonna do what Wendy Williams can't. Is this not weird?
If you can't see it, this is Drake some time ago in 2023, standing in front of all the bras that the ladies have thrown on stage, you know, because that was kind of a tradition, throwing panties and bras on stage. He collected them all, like Pokemon.
I really want to know that. Is this not weird? He's collecting these like Beanie Babies and Pokemon cards. You telling me after every show you're not throwing these out?
I'm keeping them all. Put them in the van. It's weird.
He already not beating the corny allegations, and he already be doing something funky in the DMs.
Look, shout out to the ladies calling it how they see it. I love 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 it. Oh, buddy.
Let's talk about what it looks like to not actually grow as a person, because this is what we're looking at. We are looking at a grown man that decided not to grow as a person. Your parents basically set the groundwork for how you interact with other people. Cool.
Fair.
To set the groundwork for him, unfortunately, when he was 5 years old, his dad and mom divorced. And his dad moved back to Memphis, Tennessee, while he stayed in Toronto, Canada with his mother. That leaves such a deep wound. Now, he would go back and forth to like visit with his dad, but coming from a broken family does something to your psyche. It does something to how you move in this world.
You know, I thought about this when I started seeing the reaction to the verses on Meet the Gram, specifically the verse Kendrick wrote to Drake's pops, Drake's mom, and then at the very end, the verse he wrote about the alleged daughter. I never thought that verse was about the daughter reveal. At this point, it's already happened. He had a son reveal. I don't think that was the point here. To me, that felt like Kendrick was talking to this very same part of Drake's demographic that says, I'm going to paint a picture that, let's say allegedly, prioritizes his work more than family. I'm going to paint the picture of somebody who's just weird about his interaction with women. I'm going to paint this picture so vividly that you're going to be able to put a name to it, and it won't be Drake. It'll be somebody even more personal to you. When I started seeing women that were crying after listening to that Meet the Gram song, I was like, this is more than just it being a spooky story and beat. Like, there's a level of connection to that avatar that's being painted. That verse, in retrospect, is probably more damaging than people are going to give it credit for.
I've been listening to Drake since he dropped Best I Ever Had. However, I did stop once I got a little older because his music just doesn't evolve. I don't want to hear about how many times you got your heart broken by the multiple women or how many women you dogged out. I don't want to hear you throwing subs at a woman that you went on a date with once who is now with another man on what, her third baby? I don't want to hear about that.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I'm not even here for like the shenanigans or the gossip that involves in that, but to me, that's a reflection of the man himself. This is why, for anybody that's an OVO fan that is just, you still are in your bubble and you're like, I don't understand why do they hate him so much? Is it because he's just winning? Is it because he's winning? No, that's not why everyone feels the way that they feel. They're looking at this person and they're seeing you represent an avatar of a freaky ass nigga. You are literally that. And it's playing out before our eyes in such an obvious way that's like, how do you not see that? And how do you not even not see it? How do you stand in front of that bullet and defend it? That's not weird to you?
Drake is currently 37 years old, but he still makes music with the subject topics. Like, the subject topics of his music are those of like an 18-year-old, 18, 19, 20-year-old. We see Drake going out to the clubs, you know, throwing money at the girls.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, I genuinely feel bad for Drake. Like, this seems like such a soulless life, bro. Like, you can have all the money in the world, but this is like you really can't convince me that this is something that is fun. You refuse to overcome your ego. You refuse to be honest with yourself over the fact that your actions have gotten you to where you are.
You better listen when these sisters get to talking like this, because I don't think these come from hateful places. I think it comes from a place of, hey, I was a fan of you. I was a fan of what you do, and you're disappointing me because here I am evolving, and I learned that probably through relationships, I'm learning these are toxic traits in a man. How can I be critical of those toxic traits of somebody that I refuse to be in a relationship with and listen to your music, and you're literally the soundtrack behind this toxic behavior? You're repeating some of these things. And yeah, it's just lyrics. Rappers say a lot of things and don't necessarily mean them in a literal sense, but now your actions in real life are starting to match that toxic behavior.
New artists, poppin' song, they get the Drake stimulus package, and then as soon as their hype dies down, Drake is out of there. Actually, before their hype dies down, Drake is out of there. He already got what he needed. We know people who do things like this. From my personal experience, people who tend to act like this, they have lower self-esteem. Stay with me. They have lower self-esteem and lower confidence, but they are very, very high in conceit. Like, they know how to play the part. They know how to fake it till they make it. But
she's spitting, right?
At the end of the day, they don't feel as if they're worthy. They're like a worthy person unless they have the best of the best, unless they are at the top of their job. Like, they don't feel like they're worthy of anything. They don't feel like they have value unless they have the materials to show, oh, I'm valuable. Look at how much money I have.
Can I stop you right here? Because this is a point that I made when the Family Matters video dropped. I just kept asking the question, say, bro, why does this nigga keep showing his chains in the middle of a diss song? Let's just revisit in case you forgot. He starts the video off like this. To me, it's like, is this your value? I'm 39. I'm 39, right? He's younger than me by a few years. I'm looking at this like, I know that this is entertainment. I know that this is about the glitz and all of this shit, but it's like, why are you spinning a G-Unit chain in the beginning of a diss song to Kendrick? He ain't even got issues with 50 Cent. What? And then this is how he ends the video. This bothered me as well. Look at this. I just felt like this entire video was, I got something for those that listen to lyrics. I got something for those who are here for the tea. And I also got something for you dumbasses that only care about jewels. Yeah, I got that too. I'll keep your attention with this. Huh? The moment you get bored, I'll show your ass some more jewels, huh? That's all I can think of when I see that. So when Sonya says this, I'm like, yo, you're cooking. To me, that comes from a place of insecurity. Going after women that have already moved on and have family dynamics, and you attack them while they're in their relationships and marriages. You attack Kendrick and his family dynamic because for whatever reason you have an issue seeing that happen for other people and not you. Feels and smells like insecurity. Please go watch her channel. She cooked and she has a lot more super dope things to say in here that I want you to go ahead and check out. But we're not done here. We are not done here. There are all kind of perspectives that I want to bring to the forefront because you need to understand that this is something that is bigger than just a diss song. This is bigger than just a moment of vulnerability. There are women all over that are calling him out on his weird ass behavior. This account was from Samyak. Listen to what she had to say about the new Drake.
So it looks like Drake is releasing new music. But why? DJ Academics, who I like to call Drake's surrogate, he very much has an OVO tattoo somewhere on his body.
Hey!
He went on Twitter and he revealed that Drake is releasing new music. And of course, he had to throw some shots at anyone who was against Aubrey and said, after listening to it, we will all be eating our words. I just need somebody in Drake's camp to tell him to sit down and take a break. I would just love to see Drake be gracious in defeat. He doesn't have to say anything, but he just needs to chill for a little bit.
Say, bro, sit your ass down.
Any record that Drake drops next is going to look like a response to Kendrick. Even if it has nothing to do with him,
Facts.
The timing is just too close.
Facts.
So
cook. Cook.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
The women are speaking right now, and they're not even speaking from a place of anger. This sounds like genuine concern for your livelihood. They want you to find yourself. It's time to listen when the women are talking like this. They're coming from a place of concern. Hey, do better. We're going to tell you, here's accountability. I've been saying, hey, take your loss, bro. Take your loss. Stop trying to act like you're unfazed. Look, even in this photo right here where he's at the white party, which I did not know. Oh my gosh. I saw somebody break this down for the Kendrick Lamar Not Like Us. I'd never been invited to the white party. I wouldn't plan on going anyways. But I thought this scene was really interesting. Somebody drew my attention to this. So in this video, Kendrick is seen seen wearing all white, right? Let me go to his other view right here. He's seen wearing all white in this video. Why is that such a big deal? Well, he released this video, if you remember, on the 4th of July. What else happened on the 4th of July? Well, there was an all-white party at Mark Rubin's event space, and it's just poking more fun. Oh my goodness, it's poking more fun. Yes, here's the white party where Drake is looking like he hasn't slept in years. Oh man. But here's the thing, here's a kicker. From what I understand, part of the invitation that you receive to the white party is, if I'm not mistaken, part of the invitation is a painting of some sort. So people are saying this is a possible Easter egg and that this will be the invitation to the white party. That's one theory. The second theory is Drake says something along the lines of, I know that y'all be in a studio with my picture on the wall. Well, Kendrick flips the photo around, if that's supposed to be Drake's picture, and proceeds to do the push-ups that he asked him to do. All 17 of them, because 18 would be egregious for Drake. Oh, it keeps getting better and better. I digress. Let me get to the next part. Oh my gosh, I seen that and damn near, I was sitting down and damn near sat down again. I want to dig into this, and then I want to end off on the Devi Brown video because she breaks this down in such a super dope way. Let's talk about this. You know, in the midst of a battle, this is very commonplace in that certain videos from the past get looked at with a different type of lens. Ooh-wee. This is one of those from a Nardwuar interview. I saw this interview and didn't really think nothing of it until somebody said, hashtag, this is Rap Update, says, quote unquote, the glory days. Drake gets pressed by Nardwuar. If you don't know Nardwuar does these very unique interviews with celebrities, rappers, singers, all types of artists all over the world. He's one of the best interviewers of all time, in my opinion. With that said, it seemed like he did more investigating than interviewing in this particular question. Look at what he said to Drake years and years ago.
Do you still kiss your fans?
No, I stopped that. I think
there's a Button video circulating about, I think 2009 you were kissing your fans.
The glory days, man. You know, I miss it a lot.
Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 God, freaky ass nigga.
Let's be fair. What video are we alluding to here, huh? It wouldn't happen to be this one, where he's doing a tour and he's talking to what he thought was somebody that was over the age of 18. And they're quoting it here, him saying, allegedly, I'm only 23, this can work, to a 17-year-old. I can't go to jail yet. It's crazy.
17? Why do you look like that?
You're 17. Why do you look like that? What the fuck is going on here? What are we not hearing? What are we? Excuse my language for those that got kids. What is going on here?
You big. Look at all this.
Well, men know this. Law-abiding citizen men know this. You know, men with some decent, with a moral compass. If you ever been in a situation like this where you're talking to somebody, you're like, girl, how old are you? As soon as you hear, hey, you have a gun die, I got nothing else to say to you. She might as well be the COVID patient one. Hey. Hit the books, stay focused. He proceeds to say, damn, but why you look like that? The fuck? I don't know if I should feel guilty or not, but I had fun. It gets worse. It gets worse.
I like the way your breast feel against my chest.
Seeing the way your breast felt against my chest. Hey, wait. Hey! I'm moving fast now, driving at my own pace. Cameras all around me got me feeling like I'm OJ. I'm in my own lane, top down like road game. Bitch, I'm eating good, what I need to look at your plate. Nowhere, only one me, I don't role play. Okay, you don't know me, check your Google it. Touche, I don't give a damn what a suit says, as long as niggas wanna turn me up like a Tuesday.
You need to get familiar with my resume. Do you know you're dealing with a heavyweight? If you don't know how to get it, let me demonstrate. I can flip a penny to a Benji at a steady rate. This ain't nothing new, I do this every day. You can't keep pace, you need to step away. Wipe me down, I feel like I'm really about to levitate. Face full of cake in my anime. What do you mean?
Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 guy.
Are we still running with the narrative that these are all lies that are sitting inside of Not Like Us? Are we sitting here saying that these are all lies? Do you think people are gravitating to the song because it's got a great beat to it? You think people are navigating to the song because it's just great lyricism all the way through? Let's not doubt it. It is a great beat. It is a great song. But there's people right now that are looking at this and saying, match this up, match this up. You know what? That's not too far from what I view this as. Dog, I can't talk to another boy posing as a man defending this bullshit. I can't. But you know what? To me, this is where we start to see the human being, the character himself. I didn't even catch this diss. It was such a weird line, but then now that this connection is made by the H3 podcast, you tell me if you're just as confused and even disgusted to see this.
Hey, Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Where's your uncle at? Cause I wanna talk to the man that
Just to double back, I wanted to go back and make sure, but I saw a lot of people talking about the line of let me talk to your uncle, I wanna speak to the man of the house. And it's because Kendrick has a trans uncle, so people think that he's making fun of the fact that Kendrick has a trans uncle.
Yeah. Which he sung about in his latest album, which was
really
it's definitely a reference. Once again,
it seems to me that Drake is very obsessed, or has been very obsessed, with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Could that be, ladies and gentlemen, dare I say, the more powerful spirits that exist, the voices of the ancestors talking and trying to reach someone who has displayed the behavior of being an egomaniac? Could it be that he is attracted to that album because he himself needs to go seek some fucking therapy? But he seems to keep misconstruing these lines as opportunities to poke at the same person who exposed all of these stories and said, these were some of the experiences that I had to grow from, that being Kendrick. It's just weird. I'm just glad people are seeing it.
Very vulnerable and touching and self-introspective song, really. So once again, Drake continues to go after the dumb shit that just makes him look like a douche.
The people are seeing it. I thought this was pretty hilarious. This comedian, Josh Johnson, who's been speaking about the battles in all of his stand-up comedy routines, he talks about why it's hard to believe Drake. This is just all adding up to the same picture that has been painted through these conversations and through these diss songs. Listen to this.
Sometimes feel bad for Drake in a way that I want to be clear. He does start a lot of this stuff. He does like have a little thing in a song that implies that your wife is unfaithful. And then when you come at him directly, he's like, what's with all the hate? I'm all love. It's like, no. Drake went at Pusha T, which was a true mistake. This is the thing about people like Pusha T, right? You don't want to mess with anyone who's actually had a hard life.
That part.
You know, like, Drake grew up in Canada, grew up with, like, it's just, this is my thing. A lot of people come at Drake for, they come in at a way I don't like. They come at him in this, like, colorism way where he's like, you're not really black because you're half white. I don't roll with any of that. I just truly think... But you see what I'm talking about. I'm not. Y'all are trying to get me to do something I'm not doing. I'm just saying it's very hard for a rapper to seem hard, right? When they have not been through what other rappers have been through. Like, it's hard to go hard when everybody knows you had health care. Because a lot...
Oh my gosh. Comedy has a way of breaking these things down in a way that is very unique. Man, shout out to What's the Dirt. He's been having a fantastic few months. Another great YouTuber I think you should check out. This is another part of that breakdown that I didn't get to when we did the last video, but this also speaks to when people are like, well, how can you call Drake a colonizer? He's not a colonizer. He's just showing appreciation for different cultures. Every part of your OVO argument is starting to dismantle, and it's not even the people finding shit. He's doing it voluntarily, he being Drake. Listen to this part where they're talking about the multiple accents that Drake seems to have.
Okay, Drake. Just like that one time at Cello, a good thing, man, we're pulling out phones.
The you ain't Jamaican, used your faking, Drake.
And more tune for your head top, so watch how you speak on my name, you know? Team set, the team dead, and trust me, headshot them bomba.
Then there's the Toronto accent, Drake.
You guys make me sick to my stomachs, fam.
This didn't exist before we were here. Look around at the square, I promise you right now.
Then we got the Caucasian Drake.
Just one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. Scrabble champion.
Is she really?
Yeah,
This nigga's a shapeshifter. This is crazy.
She's a top shelf lady.
The New York Drake.
To try and show out with none of this.
I like to call it the Joe Budden Drake, but that's just me.
Study. I don't really do what other people do, like, or true religion. I don't really do that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But
Look, if you're confused, don't worry, because so am I, but here's how he actually talks right here.
Ash, forget it. We just break up and get this
Hey,
over
what's
with.
the dirt? You gotta
There's the
chill.
UK Drake.
You gotta chill. What's the dirt? This was another fantastic breakdown by another sister named Devi Brown. I came up in the LA hip hop space knowing her as Devi Dev, a radio personality, but much deeper than that. She has been somebody that has championed artists like Kendrick Lamar. I remember seeing her being one of the first folks in media that stood by Kendrick Lamar at a time where he was still kind of making his way out of the shadow of J-Rock. There was an LA show that I went to where it was like Pac Div. I think you and I was there. It was like a really, really LA show in a downtown area, and she was up there showing support front and center. And these are some of the people that are very responsible for, ushering Kendrick into the mainstream conversation. It's dope to see her in this space now where she has a YouTube channel called Devi Brown Wellbeing. She says a lot of great things here and even talks a little bit about Kendrick's rise, but then she starts to dig a little bit into the issues she saw, particularly with Drake as well. Check this out.
Kendrick Lamar, the GOAT, and Drake. Big beef energy. Not just big beef energy, but where it landed, especially with some of the records like Family Matters and Meet the Grams. I mean, we have crossed the line from beef into sworn enemy territory. The way that situation has been unfolding, I was looking at it and I was like, my goodness, this is now turned into something for the lineage. This is now turned into a karmic kind of experience that they may find themselves battling for a few lifetimes. We saw it in this lifetime on records, and next lifetime it might be on a battlefield. It might be David and Goliath. It might be all kind of things. It's been really interesting to watch the way the world has been unpacking this situation and been unpacking the music. I mean, goes without saying, Team Kendrick all day, 100 million%. I don't know how to make that even more concrete. I've been watching, I look at everything kind of through symbolism and just through kind of like, what is the bigger arc? Like, what is the bigger plot? What is the bigger archetype that is coming through in whatever individuals I'm observing? And I had the vantage point of previously working within the music industry and working within radio. And I was a fly on a wall for the beginning of both of their careers. I remember it like it was absolutely yesterday. I'll never forget the first time I heard So Far Gone, which was a monumental, impeccable, incredible project. I believed in that Drake mixtape so much that I secretly programmed it into overnights and played the records. I was at his very first show that he ever did, which was at Cal State LA, I believe. His first LA show was at a college in the auditorium.
Give it a second. She's getting to it.
And on the flip side of that, K-Dot, one of the best to ever do it. LA's anointed son, one of the most gifted, incredible artists and people that
your support must come from, in the era that Kendrick and Drake came in, it must come from radio. It had to come from radio. You don't get to just go through this because of the internet. That's not the era we're living in. You still had to go through radio the same way that you had to. Blogs weren't even as powerful as radio at that point in time. So to have matter of fact, for some of you that don't remember, the news of Dr. Dre standing behind Kendrick was delivered on Power 106. It was on the radio. Got delivered. That's where everybody in the city heard it. So in this point in time, you got to understand that this voice was a supremely powerful voice. And these are the artists that came up. They needed the cosign of these folks. It wasn't about, hey, I got a following online. That's not enough. If you didn't have them as a part of your relationship, good fucking luck.
we have in this lifetime and in this generation. One of the first projects I loved from KDOT was the Kendrick Lamar EP, which I don't even know if that's like accessible or findable anywhere. But I remember watching Kendrick start to make music and watching him begin to embody his artistry in LA, very, very, very young. One of my earliest memories of his art was actually being at this teeny tiny show. There might have been 50 people there in Long Beach in a bar. And J-Rock was actually performing. Shout out to J-Rock. And Kendrick was his hype man for the performance. And I remember even in that moment, there was a light that shined on his life that was so indescribable. And I remember in that time frame, before anyone else in the rest of the country knew who he was, just in LA, I remember watching men, women, and children weep seeing him. I remember the way that project swept like a blaze through Los Angeles, reigniting music in LA, reigniting culture in LA, but speaking to things in a way that had never been done, especially from an LA artist. And it speaks to the depth of his service. But when I watch the Kendrick and Drake beef, I see misogyny, I see capitalism, I see materialism, I see surface, I see privilege, I see vacancy, I see an emptiness in Drake's music. That is my personal opinion, which is not to say that it doesn't bop, which is not to say that it's not extremely danceable and that it sounds great in the car. But when I think about the things being said, it feels like fast food. It feels to me like things that I, as a woman, as an awakened being, am not interested in. I'm, as a listener, tired of hearing about women being mistreated in his music. I'm tired of hearing about partying on every single song or, you know, being liked or,
Come on.
It's so egoic and so empty to me.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
Come on, like, thank God for black women. The way this is articulated is in a way that any man that is in this place of ego, even if you're not ready to hear it right now, because it's not delivered in a manner in which it feels volatile or feels like attacking, this plants a seed that you can't get rid of. The way she's delivering this, the way that Sonya delivered this, these are delivering seeds that you can't just get rid of and say, oh, that's a hater. No. Haters don't talk like this. This is someone who showed the utmost respect for what you represented in the beginning of your career. She's showing utmost respect for what you've been able to accomplish for those around you as well as yourself. And she's saying what a lot of people are feeling. I say that too. I wanted to see this dude win when I said, man, actors never really get a fair shot. When I saw him align himself with Lil Wayne, I was like, well, if Lil Wayne sees something in him, and I'm a fan of Lil Wayne, maybe there's something below the surface that's missing. I heard songs like Fear, and I'm like, okay, hey, there it is. He's finding his voice. He's finding another lane to create. And then you just started to see, as success came upon him, he started to become more and more hollow.
When I see and hear a voice like Kendrick's, I see someone who every single album has been so incredibly, meticulously thoughtful about the level of impact that they're having, about song construction, about layers, about melody, about lyrics, about higher awareness, about healing. And I do understand that that kind of music isn't always for everyone, depending on where you're at in your life and your journey. And I think that's part of what the dynamic of music does in our world and our society. Watching that battle to me was kind of like, it was already unequally yoked because they are just so incredibly different, even though they both are incredibly talented. It was kind of this yin and yang fight. Some of the things that Kendrick brought up and what he was saying was so illustrative of the dynamic that is always kind of apparent, whether you are going to get caught up in what pacifies you or you're going to get caught up in what helps you feel and what makes you feel. And so I thought, so the latter two records that they did were tough to hear, to be quite honest, as a fan. But also, it was showing a dynamic that I think is really important. There was a certain level of behavior that was being called out in Kendrick's song that I don't think just applies to Drake. I think it applies to a lot of people.
Including his fans. Boy, oh boy, let me tell you about these male fans. The ones that can overlook all the sus behavior and sweep it right under the rug. It makes you look and say, if music has any kind of hypnosis power, which I believe it does, right? What have you been hypnotized to believe are the foundational ethics of what it means to be a man? If he himself is displaying such childish schoolyard behavior in the way that he treats those he's at odds with by trying to find ways to, gain points on them by, oh, that's your girl. Okay, let me follow her and DM her and tell her how miserable she is. If he's operating like that, imagine how much of that is being filtered into the stories that he writes, I say that loosely, and the stories he approves by songwriters who write for him.
There were some things that really bothered me about the way that Drake approached this rap battle, because it felt like he was making fun of people that have trauma. And it felt like he was making fun of LA culture, which...
Hello.
In theory, I understand if you don't have a deeper understanding of the world, but LA culture is so deserving of reverence.
This is a lesson that when you try to do things in dark, we heard Kanye say it. I know Kanye says a lot of wild stuff, but I believe Kanye when he says, nah, that nigga's over there trolling me. Take a left down the light. When he's writing that diabolical and he's trying to get in the head of someone who is obviously going through their own mental health issues, I believe he's playing that game. When I'm looking at music videos, that same music video with Travis Scott, and I'm seeing a boulder come down and crush a child that looks like XXXTentacion, not saying that he was perfect, but when I see you playing around with imagery or allowing a video director to play with imagery and you got the power to stop that and you don't, tells me something about the character. Please go check out her channel. It is Devi Brown Wellbeing. I just left you the link inside the chat. DIYers, I look at this and I'm recognizing that, I saw someone in here earlier and I want to acknowledge you and I understand where you're coming from, because I have music from the 80s and the 90s that I still rock with because I know what they were trying to do for the time period they were in, and I salute it. I listen to a lot of stuff that I'm like, it may not add up to who I am as a man today, but because of the nostalgia, I still listen to it. Cool. I'm not hating on that. I'm not trying to point my finger and say, you need to know better what was going to happen in 2023, 24. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying, especially not as somebody that's a hip hop head, what I'm saying is this: when we know better and we have the opportunity to do better and we can support our families as artists and we can do better, let's go fucking do better. I called this last year. I said, there's going to be a need. And it happens in cycles. There's gonna be a need for higher frequency music. Niggas is broke out here. Money is tightening up. Don't nobody want to hear you rapping about all the shit you got when fucking eggs is damn near $8 for a dozen. So now is the time to stop being scared. Speak your mind. Tell your stories. I don't care how embarrassing, how vulnerable it may feel. There's an audience waiting for that shit. And there's been artists like myself that has been waiting for the tide to change. And that's the time we're living in my opinion. But those, ladies and gentlemen, are my thoughts. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.